Okay, we've been looking at the normal distribution. If you're seeing this video and this is the first one you've seen, there is another one that precedes this where all the percentages in front of you get explained. So far we've looked at the shape of this bell curve for the normal distribution, identify that you've got the mean in the middle, and then 1, 2 and 3 standard deviations above, 1, 2, 3 standard deviations below the mean should contain 99.8% of the data, leaving us with 0.1% and 0.1% chance of anything being above or below those values. We then moved on to have a look at a couple of distributions which represent tests. So a test with a mean of 30 and a standard deviation of 10. The variance is 100. And a second test where the mean is 25 and the standard deviation is 5. Now these are represented here, and we start to have a look at the two shapes of those different distributions, and also start to talk about the fact that the area underneath should always be the same. Hence the blue one here, which represents test B, is symmetrical around 25, and then if we go 3 standard deviations above the mean, which is 3 lots of 5, so takes up to 40, you'll see that's most of the curve covered. And similarly, if we go 3 standard deviations below, we've got pretty much most of the data contained within those limits there. And that's also true of test A, where the mean is at 30, and if we go 3 standard deviations, and the standard deviation is 10 this time, which means we've got the limits at 0 and 60, and you wouldn't expect many people to get above 60. So this is what we've got, and then we've got a couple of questions related to these to have a look at getting some practical information from a normal distribution. So what percentage of class A would you expect to get above 40 on the test? So class A, which are in red, above 40. So if we look at this line here, we want to know how many or what percentage you'd expect in this section here. Now if we just scroll back, we've got the percentages for those sections. Now a quick easy way is that below halfway should be 50%. So if we call this question 1, well, it's going to be 50% because that's everything below 30, plus this section here, which is 34%. Ignore that, my apologies. So that gives us a total of 84% below 40, which means that the expectation is that we would get 16% above 40. That's a prediction based on the idea that the test scores are normally distributed. For this second one, it says that 4 people have scored over 35. So if you can just make out in blue, that's where we've got 35, and that there is the mean plus 2 lots of the standard deviation, because we've got 25 as the mean and the standard deviation is 5, so 2 lots of it. So 4 people scored over 35. So I just make that clearer by pointing out that it's to the blue curve. So we know that there are 4 people over that, and we're going to make an estimate for the number of people who took the test. So really we want to know for this second question if 4 people are over that point. Now what percentage would that be? That means we've got 2.2%. And if we just take a rough estimate, then approximately that means we would have expected around about 200 people to have taken the test. Now it's rather a large class, but hopefully it helps you understand how you can use the normal distribution.